Are composting laws the solution to our food waste problem? Or are they just another expensive regulation that may not live up to the environmental promises? In today's episode of Not So Techie, we're going to take a deep dive into composting laws, policies that are being implemented in multiple U.S. states, including California, Massachusetts, and more. These laws aim to reduce food waste and keep it out of landfills, but the big question is, are they actually working? Today, we'll break down how composting works, which companies are leading the charge, and whether these laws are truly having a positive environmental impact, or if they're just another example of greenwashing. Hey there, tech enthusiasts! Welcome to Not So Techie. Here at Not So Techie, we're dedicated to exploring the latest and greatest in technology and scientific breakthrough. First off, how does composting work? Composting is the process of breaking down organic waste, like food scraps, yard trimmings, and even certain types of paper, into nutrient-rich material called humus. This decomposition happens with the help of microorganisms, such as bacteria and fungi, that thrive in the presence of oxygen. This is called aerobic decomposition. Now, why does composting matter for the environment? When food waste is sent to a landfill, it decomposes without oxygen. This is anaerobic decomposition. The problem with anaerobic decomposition is that it produces methane, a greenhouse gas that's over 25 times more effective than carbon dioxide at trapping heat in the atmosphere. Composting, on the other hand, largely avoids methane production, making it an environmentally preferable option. But composting isn't as simple as just tossing food scraps into a bin. On a large scale, several steps are involved. First, organic waste has to be separated from non-compostable materials like plastics or metals. This sorting process is crucial because contamination can ruin the compost. Once sorted, the waste is shredded to increase surface area and then mixed to ensure even decomposition. From there, the material is piled into windrows, long rows of organic waste, or placed into composting bins, where it's aerated regularly to keep oxygen flowing. After several weeks or months, the compost is ready to be used, improving soil, reducing the need for chemical fertilizers, and even helping with water retention. So, which states are implementing these laws? California and Massachusetts are at the forefront of composting regulations, but they're far from alone. Other states like Vermont, New York, and Washington are also pushing forward with composting laws. Vermont's Universal Recycling Law, for example, mandates that all residents and businesses compost their food scraps, making it one of the most aggressive composting laws in the U.S. Meanwhile, New York City has rolled out a plan for mandatory composting as part of its zero-waste strategy, and Washington is aiming for similar composting regulations. This national trend shows that multiple states are looking at composting as a key tool in their efforts to reduce waste and cut greenhouse gas emissions. Who's helping make large-scale composting a reality? Composting on a large scale isn't just about throwing food scraps into a bin. It requires infrastructure, technology, and cooperation from key players in the waste management industry. This is where some of the companies leading the charge come in. Let's start with Waste Management Incorporated, one of the largest waste management companies in North America. They've been instrumental in expanding composting facilities across the U.S., especially in states like California and Massachusetts. Waste Management offers tailored solutions to help municipalities and businesses sort, transport, and process organic waste efficiently, helping them comply with the new composting laws. Another major player is Recology, based in San Francisco. Recology operates one of the most successful composting programs in the U.S., managing San Francisco's mandatory composting law. Through their efforts, San Francisco has achieved an impressive 80% waste diversion rate, which means a significant portion of the city's organic waste is composted instead of being sent to landfills. Recology is also known for its public education campaigns, helping residents and businesses reduce contamination and compost effectively. But it's not just traditional composting companies that are making a difference. Anaergia Incorporated is using cutting-edge technology to complement composting efforts. Anaergia uses anaerobic digestion, a process that captures methane from organic waste and turns it into renewable energy. While composting reduces methane emissions by breaking down organic waste aerobically, anaerobic digestion takes it a step further by capturing the methane and converting it into usable biogas. This dual approach is a great example of how new technologies can work alongside composting to provide additional environmental benefits. Let's talk about the pros of composting laws. One of the biggest benefits of composting is the reduction in methane emissions. According to the EPA, composting can reduce methane emissions by up to 84% compared to landfilling food waste. States like Massachusetts, which have implemented strict composting laws, have seen measurable reductions in methane emissions by diverting significant amounts of food waste away from landfills. By keeping this waste out of landfills and breaking it down aerobically, composting significantly reduces methane production. Another major benefit is to soil health. Compost is rich in nutrients and organic matter, which is essential for improving soil structure, retaining moisture, and reducing the need for chemical fertilizers. This has been particularly beneficial in drought-prone areas like California, where farmers use compost to improve crop yields while conserving water. Compost acts like a sponge, helping the soil retain moisture, an invaluable resource in regions that are often short on water. And it's not just about improving soil. Waste diversion is another huge benefit. In places like San Francisco, where composting laws are well established, the city has diverted over 80% of its waste from landfills, serving as a model for other cities around the world. This reduction in landfill use extends the life of landfills and decreases the need for new landfill space, an important consideration as landfill space becomes increasingly scarce. But composting laws come with challenges, too. One of the biggest hurdles is infrastructure. Many states don't have enough composting facilities to process the large amounts of organic waste being generated. California, for instance, has ambitious goals under SB 1383 to reduce organic waste in landfills by 75% by 2025, but the infrastructure to meet that goal is still being developed. Without sufficient composting facilities, food waste often has to be transported long distances, which increases costs and diminishes some of the environmental benefits. That's where companies like SUS Global Energy Corporation come in. SUS Global specializes in turning organic waste into both renewable energy and compost. They work in areas where infrastructure is still developing, helping to bridge the gap and scale up composting efforts. Another significant challenge is contamination. When non-compostable materials like plastics or metals are mixed in with organic waste, they can ruin an entire batch of compost. This has been a persistent issue in cities like San Francisco, where improper sorting can lead to wasted resources. Recology has invested heavily in sorting technology and public education to address this, but contamination remains a costly problem. And let's not forget about costs. Composting programs are often more expensive than traditional landfill options, at least in the short term. Transporting organic waste to distant composting facilities, processing it, and managing contamination all add to the overall cost. This has led to criticism that composting laws place an unfair burden on small businesses that may not have the resources to comply. Companies like Cleanaway Waste Management Limited offer scalable solutions that aim to make composting more cost-efficient, streamlining logistics and optimizing the waste collection process. So, is composting part of a green hoax, or are the benefits real? The data shows that composting can indeed reduce methane emissions, improve soil health, and divert significant amounts of waste from landfills. But these benefits aren't automatic. They depend heavily on having the right infrastructure in place, reducing contamination, and ensuring public participation. Companies like Anaergia, Recology, and SUS Global demonstrate that composting, when integrated with other waste management technologies, can create a sustainable and scalable system. These innovations offer a pathway to making composting more efficient and environmentally impactful. That said, the success of composting laws ultimately depends on how well they're implemented. Massachusetts has been able to reduce methane emissions and divert organic waste thanks to its established infrastructure and supportive waste management ecosystem. California, on the other hand, is still facing significant challenges, including a lack of composting facilities and ongoing public education efforts. So, what's the future of composting? As more states adopt composting laws, we're likely to see continued investment in infrastructure, public education, and new technologies like anaerobic digesters. Anaergia's approach, capturing methane to create renewable energy while also producing compost, is a promising example of how traditional composting can evolve and become even more impactful. The future of composting laws will depend on finding the right balance between expanding infrastructure, reducing costs, and ensuring that the public participates in sorting waste properly. Thanks for watching Not So Techie. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments. Do you think composting laws are worth the effort, or are they too expensive and complicated to implement on a large scale?